Oh my goodness. Hey guys, welcome. I don't know what happened. I thought I have been live for like the last 20 minutes. And yeah, I was like, that's weird that nobody's commented or said hi. And then I realized that I didn't even hit the go live button. So I do apologize if you've been sitting and waiting. I've been putting together the project that we're working on. So if you're here, say hi, let me know you're here. I do apologize. So the project that we are going to be working on tonight is we're going to be doing a V-split tumbler with a decal name. So I just made the V-split with Caesar glitter vinyl. I cut it out with my silhouette. I just made the dimensions for the same size as the tumbler, and then I cut out like a V. I did have another piece of white that I was going to put in here, but I kind of messed it up. So for purposes of the video, I am just going to skip that part for right now. So again, I do apologize for being so late. I was here. I was putting all of this together, and I guess I was just talking to myself. I forgot to hit the go live button. So right now I'm just sanding down the vinyl. I'm not like going crazy on it. I'm using 120 grit. I'm just taking the top layer of the shine off of the vinyl to give the glue and the rhinestones a better surface to adhere to. And then I am cleaning it with alcohol to get all of the dust off. Before I put the vinyl on, I did prep the cup by sanding it and cleaning it with alcohol. So you will have to do that twice if you're doing this kind of tumbler. The name that I put on here is also made with the Caesar glitter vinyl. It is about 5.5 inches. So the reason I picked this project today is because I had a couple people reach out and ask, well, how do I put a name on a tumbler? Like, what's the best way to do that? Do I put the name so that it reads from top to bottom or from bottom to top? Really, it's up to you. It's up to you however you choose to put the name. There's no right or wrong way. My personal preference is to put it so that it reads from, this is the top of the tumbler, and then it reads from the name down to the bottom. I do that because, like, if you're holding the tumbler, we read from left to right. So if and you were to turn it, you would see it this way. Where if you turned it like this and it's still up, the name would kind of be upside down. That's just my thought process, but you can put it however you want. But I'm going to go ahead and rhinestone over this, and then I will fix this later. I had another piece of vinyl that is like the V part to go in there that I'm going to put transparent rhinestones over the top. But when I went to go put this on, I pulled it off and then I put it back down. And I put it back down on the wrong side. So now it's like stuck to that and I can't use it. And I don't want you guys to wait for me to cut another piece. So I'll fix that part later. I just wanted to show you guys like this. But as far as size for the names, this tumbler that I'm using is a 20-ounce skinny or 20-ounce straight, whichever you want to call it. So this tumbler itself is 8 inches. I like to leave, if I'm doing just a full name, I like to leave at least an inch on the top or the bottom So I would make the name at maximum 6 inches long. Normally I do between 5 and 5.5, depending upon how big the person's name is. So like depending upon how many letters are in that person's name. If they have more letters, it's going to be a little bit harder to like scrunch it together. So it's really up to you on how you want to do that. That's just my personal preference. The fonts that I'm using, hold on, I need to grab 2 trays so that I can get some rhinestones. So the font that I'm using for this is actually 2 fonts. This A was from kind of like a design font. I can't remember the name right now. And then I use the rest of the small letters with the font that is called, it's called Bring Heart. You can get it on, I believe, What the Font or on Creative Fabrica. And then some of my other favorite fonts that I like to use for names. Impact is a good one because it's big and bold. And then I also like to use hold on. There is an Arial font that looks really good, as well as, oh goodness, I had them all wrote down and now I can't find my paper. There it is. Golden Radiant, Cozy Caps, and West Avenue are some fonts that I like to use. They're really wide, and they work really well. They're kind of curvy. They work great with working with rhinestones. So I'm going to rhinestone the purple vinyl with a mix. With the custom mix that we have. And what is this one called? This is the Deep Sea mix. So I'm going to start at the bottom to rhinestone this, and I'm just going to do a scatter pattern on this. So I'm just going to place the rhinestones in random order with the varying different sizes. For the name though, I'm going to use like a light purple for probably the tanzanite, and then I would go back around this with a small either SS4 or SS6 in jet black to give it the outline. I'm going to skip that for now though because I messed up the white part that I want to put behind that. When I get the white part on this, I'm going to rhinestone over that with transparent rhinestones. So this is our Bling Your Things custom mix. It's called Deep Sea. And I'm actually going to start right here at the seam. And I'm going to get right at the edge, the first couple rows, and get that set. And for scattered, like there's really no right or wrong way to do this. Whatever order you want to put the rhinestones, it is all up to you. And so, hi Holly, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to post them and I will answer them as we go. And hi Miss Lori, thank you for joining us for the first time. You as well, if there's any questions that I can answer for you, please post them and I will answer them as we go. If you guys are new to either joining us on YouTube or on Facebook in our Facebook group, when I do the streams, I use StreamYard. So on Facebook, if you post something, I cannot see your name. I think you have to allow it like a specific permission to access your information so it can share your name. So if you post a question, I can only see that it says Facebook user. I don't know what your name is, so I do apologize up front if I don't address you by your name. But my name is Shannon. I am the owner of Bling Your Things. I have been rhinestoning for several years. My grandma got me hooked on it way back when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. We would rhinestone like all kinds of things, our Christmas decorations. She would have us do like signs. We would glue rhinestones on shirts. And it's always been something that I've loved to do. And then a couple years ago, I kept having a problem where I couldn't find the rhinestones that I was looking for, like in the sizes or the specific colors. So I searched for a good 8-9 months to find the right vendors, and I decided that, well, I knew that I wasn't the only person with that problem. So I decided to open my own rhinestone store. And then that is how Bling Your Things was born. And during that time too, I was also going through chemo because I had breast cancer. Everything is good now. But when I was sitting there, I needed something to do. So I started rhinestoning again. And, you know, obviously you're making things that are very pretty and people start asking you like, hey, what are you doing? How do you do that? Can you show me? Can you teach me? You know, that looks like something cool to do while we're sitting here. So I would show other people in the infusion room how to rhinestone. And we made some, you know, stuff for the nurses and the doctors and all of that fun stuff. And then it kind of just continued to grow from there. And here we are today. That was about, oh goodness, I think we're going on year 3, almost year 3.5. So we just continue to grow each year thanks to all of you. I'm trying to continue to grow our library of tutorials that we have for you guys, as well as doing the lives each week. My goal this year is to make sure that I am doing a live tutorial for you guys every week. And so if you guys ever have anything that you want to see a tutorial on, please either post it in our Facebook group or send me a DM on Facebook, or you can also email at info@blingyourthings.com. And I will get back to you, or I can do either a tutorial or I can do a live for you during the week. So the lives are every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And most times they are recorded, so if you don't catch the live, you can always watch the replay. And so, questions. Let's see. This person is asking, what glue do you use for fabrics? For fabrics, you want a glue that is going to be flexible. It's also going to depend upon the type of fabric. If you're using a fabric that's like, say like leotard-ish or like yoga pants-ish, that's stretchy, unless you're doing like a full glitz bling, I would recommend using hot fix rhinestones and heat pressing them on with either a transfer, or you can get one of those like individual setting tools that you'll heat each individual rhinestone up with the heat of the tip of the setting tool. If you're just doing a shirt, like a cotton shirt, you can use the same thing I'm using on this tumbler, fusion tack. This works on fabric. I don't use liquid fusion a lot. Well, I don't use it at all, actually, so I can't say a lot. I don't remember if they say you can use that on fabric. Most of the glues include on like the front of the bottle what the recommended uses are. You can also read the manufacturer's, the NSDA, so the manufacturer's suggested uses, and it will let you know what types of items it can be used on. But you can use, if you just need something quick, you can use the super tight fusion tack. There's also like Beacon's glue. What is that one called? But I wouldn't use on fabric, I wouldn't use like a 2-part epoxy or anything like that. You could also use like Glue Masters. That's more of like a super glue-ish consistency. With that, the dry time is going to be very, very quick. So you have to be really precise in your placement, because literally you put the glue down, you put the stone on it, within like 30 seconds, it's dry. So if you want something with a little bit more forgiveness, a little bit more work time, use like the super tight fusion tack. You could check out liquid fusion, that might work. So there's, but good question. So the person who asked about how do you give Facebook permission or StreamYard permission on your Facebook, when you first like joined the live, it should have asked you, like Facebook should have asked you, do you want to allow StreamYard access to your contact information? It would be the same as like if you have another app that you use that you use your Facebook information to log into the app. you would be giving StreamYard the same type of permissions so that they can view your contact information. And then let me go over to here, and then I think I can zoom in a little bit so that you guys can see better. And so Lori is asking, she missed the first part. So honestly, you probably did it. I sat here for about a good 15, 20 minutes talking to myself apparently, because I forgot to hit the button to start the live. So you probably didn't miss anything. But I am using vinyl. The purple is vinyl. It is Caesar glitter vinyl. And this color that I'm using is called amethyst. And then for the name, this is, I think it's just light purple. But you can use different color vinyl or different types of vinyl. It doesn't have to be the Caesar glitter vinyl. You could use like Oracle or like Tech Wrap. I use Tech Wrap a lot. They have lots of different pretty colored vinyls. They have holographic vinyl, all that good stuff. And why does it keep trying to like change the focus? Sorry about that. But the person who was asking about Facebook, you can also join over on YouTube. If you join on YouTube, you don't have to allow any permissions. And I will be able to see your name. Like I can still see your questions on Facebook regardless. I just can't see your name. So, but you could join us on Facebook or on YouTube or in the group, either place, or both if you wanted. But I am doing this is a 20-ounce tumbler, and then I'm doing a kind of like a split V pattern on here. I used Caesar glitter vinyl to make like my template. I just made a rectangle and measured out the tumbler to see what dimensions I needed. And then I had also cut out a V in white to put here in the center. And then I was gonna put the name on top of that, but when I was pulling it off, I messed it up, so I will go back and do that later. After I put the vinyl on, I did sand the vinyl just a slight bit with 120 grit sandpaper to take that top layer of vinyl off, or the top layer of shine off. To like increase the surface area that the glue and the rhinestones have to attach to. And I'm just using a scatter fill for my rhinestones on the purple, the amethyst glitter vinyl. I'm using our Deep Sea mix. It is the Bling Your Things custom mix that's called Deep Sea. It has some purples, crystal. It has some chameleon emerald. And I think there might be a few metallic blues in there somewhere. And then all of our mixes have sizes that range from SS4 all the way up to SS30. So you get a good variation of sizes within the mix that you're using. And just don't be like me. I tend to gravitate towards using all of the small stones. I want to fill in every little crack, but it's okay to not fill in every single space. So then I'm just going to go back and make sure that all of my stones are kind of lined up on that bottom line of the vinyl, that they're not kind of like hanging over. And then just make the adjustments. And then for the name, I'm going to use a tanzanite and probably SS10 in some varying different smaller sizes to kind of fill in the holes or like the gaps and whatnot. Like I'll use a multi-pack for that has, the multi-packs have SS4, 6, 8, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 16. So I'll use that multi-pack to fill in, to cover the vinyl for the name. And then I'll go back around it with either a size SS4 or SS6 in black to outline the name, just so that it like looks more clean, it looks more professional, and it's going to make the name pop when you outline it, compared to if you just put the tanzanite stones on. And then I'm going to use transparent and a honeycomb pattern to go over the white part. When you outline it, it's going to make the name pop out and stand out a whole lot more than if I hadn't done that. So oh, there you go. Hi, Charlene. Thanks for joining us on Facebook. So yeah, I'm not sure what the difference is. It's between the platforms. Facebook requires external apps to have permission, where Facebook, I'm more just like live. So, but yeah, if you guys have any questions as we're going along, please feel free to post them. If any of you did get this month's Bling box, those will be going out sometime tomorrow. I finished all of the, sorry, I had to get a drink. I finished all of the patterns today, making sure, like testing them, making sure that they all line up, that everything is going to work for you. So then I just need to pack them and then get them shipped out to you guys. Normally we would ship the Bling boxes on between the 1st and the 5th, but because the 4th of July weekend would coincide with that, I'm going to get them out tomorrow, so that hopefully, I know some of you that are in Florida, like you guys will probably get them Saturday or possibly on Monday. I forget if they're not delivering mail on Monday or Tuesday. It's probably Tuesday, because I believe the 4th is actually, where's my calendar? Isn't the 4th on a Tuesday? Yeah, so the post office will probably be closed on Tuesday, and if I get them out tomorrow, then a lot of you should receive them within a day, or 2 days, I mean, like 2 days at the latest. So for the scatter, like I'm just gonna keep going back and like filling in the spaces with the stones that fit in a random order. There's no wrong way to do your scatter. It's whatever works for you. For me personally, I prefer to do scatter. I feel like it goes a whole lot faster for me. It's not as, I feel like it's more freeing. When I'm doing like the honeycomb patterns, there's only one way to do it. Like you have to put it in that order. You have to line them up like that same exact way for the pattern to work. Or, you know, the combination of how the stones fit together, they have to be a specific way or it's not going to come out looking right. And with the scatter, I can literally just zip through placing rhinestones. Granted, you know, I'm not just blindly placing them, but you have more freedom. I feel like I have more freedom with how I'm placing them. And in the end, I think that my the scatter designs look a whole lot prettier than the honeycomb. The honeycomb look great, don't get me wrong. They're still beautiful too, but there's just another dimension of like beautifulness to scatter. There's more angles for like the light to reflect off of. I just love it. What about you guys? What method do you guys, or what kind of patterns do you guys prefer to do? Do you prefer doing honeycomb or doing scatter? There's also some other types of patterns that you can do, like the dual, I call it like the dual honeycomb, where you're using like an SS20 and then a stone half its size, and then you're alternating these in the way that you place them. So you're kind of like filling them all in, and then you're putting all these small ones around it. And then you just alternate between the larger and the smaller sizes. So there's that one. I see some people call it the cushion method. I'm not exactly sure how it's a cushion. Maybe the smaller stones are cushioning the bigger ones. To me, it's like a dual honeycomb. And then there's also similar concept. If you place the larger stones in straight, like linear rows, and then place the smaller ones like in the gaps in between. Like you do need a smaller size here. Like you would put them like that. And then you would just stack them all. Have you guys tried those types of patterns? Like what works for you guys? Lori likes the scatter. Yes. Me too. We can be in the scatter club together. For the Bling boxes come out. We do them on a pre-order. They are a mystery box. We do them on a pre-order. So the pre-orders start on the 15th of each month, and then it goes through the last day of the month or until they're sold out. We only have a limited number of boxes that we make each month, and then they ship out between the 1st and the 5th of the following month. So like for July, the pre-order started on the 15th, and then it goes through June 30th. And then we would normally ship on like July 1st, but because of the holiday, I'm going to ship them out tomorrow. There is only one box left on, there's only one box available for order for July. After that box is sold, then they will be sold out, and then we don't make the same boxes again. Most times we do have like leftover inventory, but we wouldn't have all the products to make more boxes, you know. So like maybe we're out of, you know, we only buy enough product to make X number of boxes. So we make enough to make them, and then we'll have like the rhinestones, and you can order things individually, but we don't have enough room to keep a whole lot of excess inventory. So we try to keep everything low and make just enough for everyone to get the boxes that they need. So there are pictures, I believe, in the Facebook group of like past boxes if you want to get an idea of the types of items that would be included. We include 5 to 6 full-size rhinestone products, 1 to 2 projects, 1 to 2 patterns for the project, and then I most times include some other items in there, and then it does include free shipping, and you also get exclusive discounts or promotions on future orders that you could only get by being a member for that specific month. And it's not a subscription box. You're not signing up for like months indefinitely. You're just purchasing that month, and then if you want to purchase next month, you have to come back to the website and purchase that month. So you're not signing up for a recurring subscription or anything like that. But there is that. So and 1 second, I need to grab a drink. So do you guys have any plans for the 4th? Are you guys going anywhere exciting, or do you have somewhere that you and your family go to watch the fireworks? Do you stay home? Do you have pets and have to stay home with your dog to help them feel like they're not going to die of an anxiety attack because they're not sure what's going on? We are a little bit of both. Normally, our family would have a like a cookout, and we would light off fireworks ourselves. But my son is on a trip, and some other people are out of town, so I will actually be the person staying at home with my dog this year. Where we live, I should still be able to open the door and see the fireworks going off, probably from a couple of different places. But I will be staying in this year. So, how about you guys? Hello from Oklahoma. What pattern am I making? I'm not really making a pattern per se. I am just doing I'm making a tumbler with a split V center that has a name on it. And I made the name is made out of Caesar glitter vinyl, as well as the purple color. This is also Caesar glitter vinyl. I just measured the cup, the size of it, and then I made a square, and then I cut out the center. It did all of that in the Silhouette software, and then I cut it out and then applied it to the tumbler. I prepped the tumbler, I sanded it, cleaned it with alcohol before I put the vinyl on. After I put the vinyl on, then I sanded it down just a little bit to get the top layer of shine off of the vinyl. And then I'm just going back and applying, I'm using our custom mix that's called Deep Sea. This has sizes, it's glass rhinestones, sizes SS4 to SS30, and it has colors that are like purple, crystal. It has some chameleon colors in there. And I'm just placing them in a scatter pattern. And then for the name, I'm gonna use a lighter color purple, the tanzanite, and then I will outline this with the jet rhinestones, the blacks, and either SS4 or SS6, or maybe even a combination of both of them. So that is the project that we are working on today. Thank you for asking. If you have any questions about the tumbler, the reason I chose this one tonight is because I had a couple people ask me about how do I put a name on a tumbler? What size should I make my name? Should the name read from top to bottom or bottom to top? And the answer is it's really up to you. For this tumbler, this is a 20-ounce skinny. This tumbler is 8 inches long. I like to leave a buffer for my names of at least 1 inch on both ends. That gives me room to still add my outline and whatnot. Normally, I would make my name decals between 5.5 to 6 inches long. So that's actually leaving about 1 to 1.25 inch on each side, or sometimes even smaller. For this person, they kind of have a little bit of a longer name, and this one is 5.5 inches long. I prefer to do the names from the top of the tumbler to read down instead of bottom up, because I feel like English language, we read left to right. If somebody goes to pick this up and then they turn it, most times you're going to turn it so that the top still stays up because you don't want to spill what's inside, and then you're going to read it from left to right. So that's why I do top to bottom, just because of the phonetics of how how we actually use the product. But it's up to you. If you want to do it from bottom to top, it's perfectly fine. Is there any other questions about adding names to the tumblers that like you guys might have? You can use different kinds of vinyl. You could also like cut out the vinyl and then use the vinyl as like a stencil, and you could color it in with like Sharpies, or you could spray paint it and then pull the vinyl off the top. And Angela's asking, how much space should there be between the letters when adding the stones? It's up to you. I like this font right here is called Bring Heart. It's actually a combination of two. So you want to leave enough room, because I will outline this with SS4s or SS6s. So in comparison, this is an SS4 and this is an SS6. So I want enough room in between here so that I can fit my normal rhinestone to cover the name. Let me put a couple on here so you could see. Enough space so that I can put my rhinestone on there and then allow for an outline. So depending upon the software that you're using to like create your name, I use the Silhouette software. I have a Cameo. That's what I use to cut my decals. There is a function in the letters when you're like writing out names or text that you can increase the space between the letters. This one I didn't do that with because there's enough space in between. But if you have like a font that you really like and the letters are really close together, you can increase the character spacing, so the space in between each letter, so that it allows yourself a little bit more space. So hopefully that you can also do that too. But it doesn't have to be a lot, because like with the SS4 to do the outline, I mean, you don't really need a lot of space in between there to add like a SS4. But really great question. What glue am I using? I'm using Super Tight Fusion Tack. This is a white glue. This is one of my go-to glues. I use either this or Bob Smith 2-part epoxy, the 30-minute one. Occasionally I will use the 5-minute one, but it just depends what I'm doing. If you're new and starting out, I would not recommend using the 5-minute epoxy because the working time is not a lot. It's literally less than 5 minutes before the epoxy is hard. So the 30-minute allows you more working time. Same with the Fusion Tack. I do sometimes use E6000, but it has a very strong odor to it that does not agree with me. So if I use that, I have to make sure that I'm in a well-ventilated area as well as I need to wear a mask so that I'm not breathing in the fumes. A lot of people use E6000, and it's really your preference, whatever kind you want to use. I do recommend with any glue that you use, they have a manufacturer's like recommendations on the types of items that it can be used on. And you can readily find those online or on like the manufacturer's website. And I recommend that you read them for any type of glue that you're going to use. It's going to tell you what temperature is best for it to be applied at, what types of surfaces it can be applied on. Are there any prep items that they recommend to improve the adhesion of the glue? There's a lot of information that you're going to find by reading those. It's also going to tell you like if there's like an off-gassing of it. Do they recommend ventilation, not to have your AC on? Like E6000 has some of those recommendations, is to not use it in a closed area, and make sure that you are in a well ventilated area. You know, so that means like opening your windows or using it outside. Do you have to apply it at like the right humidity levels, the right temperature? There's a lot more that goes into like picking your type of glue than kind of just like reading the front. What does it say? Fabric, glass, leather, plastic. It's going to tell you how long you should let the item cure for. Will the item be waterproof? Things like that. Also things that you should not apply it to. Because it could like cause a chemical reaction and things like that. So but my preferred glue is this one, the Super Tight. It's white, it dries clear. I have tumblers that I made 2-3 years ago that are still going strong. Haven't lost any rhinestones. So it's really what works for you. And test too. Like grab some rhinestones and like grab a tumbler and like apply the stones using different glues. Like I have a tumbler that I think I tested 6 different glues, and I put like a chunk, you know, like a whole row of like, I think it was like 8 or 10 rhinestones in like 5 rows, all with different glue. And then I, you know, read, what does it say? Like fully cured after 72 hours. And I applied it like in different chunks down the tumbler. So at 72 hours, I kind of like tested it to see like, is it really dry? Are the stones going to come off? How much force do I need to use for those stones to come off the tumbler? And I did that like with all of those stones. And then the next section, I went back and tested it a week later. Where did the adhesion improve? Was it harder to take the stones off? Then after a week, I did it like a month later. And then like 6 months later, a year later, like how is it holding up? Did the glue turn yellow? Things like that like you're going to notice or that you might not notice just by asking other people, because you might not know that my experience with liquid fusion is that a year, like after a year, the glue started yellowing. So in the beginning it was fine, but a year later the glue was starting to yellow. So there is just that. Hi, Miss Angela, how are you? Oh, I'm sorry, I already said hi. Anyway, hi again, how are you? Oh, wow, that would be, what do you mean that would be tough? Which would be tough? Like, if you give me 1 second, I will show you guys that tumbler. So this is the tumbler that I did to like test out the glues. So I used Liquid Fusion, Gem Tack, Fusion Tack, and Naline's Jewel-It. So I don't know how much you can see like on the video, but like the Liquid Fusion, this tumbler is probably about 2 years old now. The Liquid Fusion, like right here around the edges, is yellowing, where like the other glues didn't do that. And so then, like I said, like at I would go back and I would like try to pick them off to see how well they would stay. So like you don't have to do this on a tumbler, but I would recommend you do something similar like this to kind of test out the other glues, because you might have a different experience than I do. So it's really, you know, just something to think about. Anyway. So what time do we have? 9:24. Sorry, I'm gonna turn the camera so it's gonna get shaky a second. Oh, and now you're upside down. There we go. All right, so I will go ahead and let you guys go for the evening. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to hop over in our Facebook group and post your questions. I think I'm excited. We are almost up to 2,000 people, 2,000 members in our group. So there is almost 2,000 other people in the group that are just like you, that are passionate about rhinestoning. We're all here to help each other. So if you have questions, you're struggling with something, or maybe you have an idea that you need help with, or you just want to share the project, share your wins with the items that you're making, hop over to the Facebook group, share your wins with us, share your questions. We are all there to help you. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them there. I will be doing the live tutorials every week on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'd love to hear what things you guys want me to do for you. So if you have a project that you want me to show how to do, or something you're having trouble with and you want to see somebody else do it, send me a DM or send an email over to info@blingyourthings.com, and I will work on getting that into doing the live or doing a tutorial video for you over on YouTube so that you could rewatch that. All of the lives are generally recorded, so if you miss it, you can go back and watch it on the replay. So there's always that too. But if you guys have any questions ever, please feel free to send me a DM or send me an email at info@blingyourthings.com, and I will try to help you to the best that I can. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope to see you again next week. And if you did get the July Bling box, I will be sending them out tomorrow. I have one more thing to go to the store and print, and then I will be able to ship them out. So keep an eye out for them. If you are local to me in Florida, you should have them by Saturday probably, or Monday. Because of the holiday, I'm shipping them out earlier, so there might be a slight delay and you might not get it until Wednesday or Thursday. But feel free, you will have the shipping and the tracking, so you'll be able to track it. But if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. So thank you guys for joining me. Yeah, if you ever have any questions, just contact me. But again, thank you for joining me, and I will let you guys get back to your families for the evening, and I will see you all next week. Bye, guys.